Well, hello, everybody. I'm Sean Scott, and welcome to another edition or episode of Aging Smart. We're going to talk about some interesting things today. We're always talking about how we age, and we can maybe do it a little smarter. Doing it smarter is by getting information on things, maybe some things that you never thought about before. So we're going to be joined today by a good friend of mine, Chad Fisher. He has had a very interesting story, and I want to bring some of that out today because I don't know a lot of guys like this guy. He's pretty cool. But Chad Fisher is from Avail Home Care, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that space and what that thing looks like and get some good insight. So welcome, Chad. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, home care, man. I'm in my home right now.
Yeah?
I got Diane. She takes care of me, right? I mean,
You're one of the lucky ones.
that home care? I mean, no, but in all seriousness, so this whole idea of this continuum of care, at some point in time in our life's journey, we might get into a place where we just can't do the things we used to do all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe it can, I joke about Diane, maybe Diane, she's doing the best she can, but my needs and her skills maybe are starting to separate a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't really want to jump onto the next level and maybe go to assisted living quite yet. I'm not really there, but I'm also not really in my whole independent space where I'm doing it myself. And even with Diane's help, so this is a setup. What's the next option?
Yeah, that's when you call us.
Right.
Home care is exactly what it says. It doesn't have to be in your home, though. It's wherever home is. You could be living in an independent living facility around other people, but still need the help. And so we always tell people wherever home is, we can be there.
That's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah, because we're thinking, just as in my home, right?
Yeah.
Or what happens if I don't live in my home any longer? And there is a stop on the journey, which is independent living.
That's right.
And I think about my mom. She used to live in a condo down in Palm Beach. It was this beautiful condo. It was a dream house. And that condo was literally killing her.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't keep up with the things that she needed to do. Her health, her medication, her hygiene, her nutrition, all these things started to break down a little bit, which cascaded to more problems.
Yeah.
So I kind of pried her out of that perfect condo and moved her into an independent living setting in South Pasadena. It wasn't an assisted living facility. It was independent.
Yep.
It was the craziest thing because everything changed for her. All those problems just kind of evaporated because we also layered in a little bit of home care inside that, not in an assisted living setting, but in her apartment in this kind of independent home care was there. And I think a lot of people don't think about, I assisted living or my home. No, there's a middle ground.
You can go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. And
Very cool.
There's a lot of people that'll move to what they consider like a CCRC, where they've got all these levels of care that go. But you make that move at a later age, and then you get settled. And who wants to make the second or third move down into that next level?
Correct.
So they'll call us in to, make that as long of a transition as they can until they really do have to make that next move.
The idea, I guess the fantasy is we want to stay in our home as long as
that's
possible.
Everybody's.
Right? I mean, that's kind of
I hope
gold
that's
standard.
Everybody's goal, but
and then that's not always appropriate necessarily, but there is stuff we can do in the home. So home care side.
And you can have somebody at home taking care of you, like your wife could take care of you, but being a caregiver and a family caregiver, you're changing the entire dynamic of that home and the responsibilities. So the decline will start to happen to your wife, so to speak, almost as fast, or if not faster, than it's happening to you because she's going to be so stressed out.
Yeah, I think you're definitely speaking the truth here. Is this whole idea of the stress on the caregiver can have statistically, it has very much a known effect.
Huge effect.
And it's not good.
Yeah, caregiver burnout.
Caregiver burnout.
It's a huge thing.
When we talk about in my world of Medicaid planning with my clients, I'll be helping one spouse get eligible for benefits to pay for care at home, ALF, or in a nursing setting. And I think a lot of people tend to ignore the spouse that's not going, because they're not really the star of the show.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But that spouse is critical in these cases. Mostly, one of the things is her mortality.
Yep.
We think that this guy, let's say the husband, is the guy he's sick and he's kind of the star, and we're all worried about him and his care and paying for his care, and he's sucking up all the oxygen in the room.
Yeah.
But the spouse is there.
Yep.
She gets ignored in some cases. And what happens is they tend to not think about her mortality, that she could die first.
Yeah.
And the statistics,
And a lot
this
of
is what I'm
that-
trying to-
a lot of
the
that
whole
happens.
caregiver thing, yeah,
Yep.
the caregiver has a 67% greater chance of dying
Absolutely.
first.
Yeah, and that's what I see every day.
Yeah. So this is a huge thing. Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we don't look at that and more people don't step in to realize that. And the most common problem that we get is, we are such almost an emergency phone call
Right.
when something's happened and it's like, oh, no, we need home care. Instead of planning ahead, maybe, people plan ahead with all the different things,
Yeah.
private long-term care insurance
Right,
policies,
exactly.
all the different things
Yep.
that we have in place, but nobody reaches out to a home care company to this day. I don't think I've ever been reached out to, of someone who says, hey, I just want to connect with you guys and I want to set myself up and learn about your company and know that maybe in 2 years from now, we may need you and is it okay to call you? Nobody plans that way.
It's not hard to do that.
No, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
I wish more people would do it.
And when I'm counseling my clients, and again, they're on the journey through the caregiving journey, right? And we're still okay-ish. We're at home, but we have things that are developing. We know problems are happening, and the spouse is there. Bless her heart, she wants to do everything.
Yeah.
She's committed. She's going to do whatever she can possibly do.
Yep.
She's gung ho, but that gung ho attitude can really kill her, literally.
Yeah.
And so what I tell my clients is, let's talk about home care, because let's extend your ability to stay home, and then you, spouse, your ability to continue to participate in that care journey.
Yeah.
But you're not having to be responsible for 100% of the stuff.
Right.
Augment.
Yeah.
Step back a little bit, let somebody else push the rock.
Yeah, nobody has to go in and hire us, and we don't have to be there for 12 hours a day. If you just start off with 4 hours and give yourself a break as a caregiver, you can
Recharge
go out,
a little
just
bit.
recharge,
Yeah.
go get a massage, go get your nails done, whatever it is that you do. Go to the gym, go somewhere where you're going to get a recharge and come back and
I hear you, Laura.
keep that going.
So I'm going to give you a little revelation. I am not the best patient.
No, we're men. I'm not either. My wife would tell you the same thing.
Poor Diane, that she has had to kind of step up and very, very much provide a huge amount of care for me in the home setting. And I try to be a good patient.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine that at some point in time, she wants to throw me off the balcony.
Yeah, well, and you and myself, we're bigger guys as well. So we are going to be the ones that if we were to decline first,
Right.
my wife's not going to be able to pick me up if I was a fall risk.
Right.
She's going to need that extra help. So
Correct.
even little things like that, when people know that, hey, I'm married to somebody who's 6'4" or whatever, and I can't pick them up if they fall, I'm definitely going to need home care. I'm going to need something that's going to help me out.
And so let's talk about what home care looks like. All right. So I mean, we're putting a label on it, right? Though that's home care, and in what I do for a living, I know what this is. It's part of the journey. It's this home care. I know, but I think Mr. and Mrs. people watching out there, they may not understand, what does it entail? Is it invasive? Do I get to pick? How much? How much time is it going to take? So, for example. How do I schedule it? There's a lot of unknown there. So could you walk us through a little bit about, what is home care? What does it look like exactly?
Home care is not cool. I'm here to make home care cool. I hope.
I'm here to make home care cool.
That's my mission in life, is to make home care cool. That's right. I don't want to make it a thing where people are like scared to call, or they don't think that they would fit in with home care and don't understand any of it. A simple phone call, I'll come to your house. Someone from our company will come to your house, sit down with you. They'll walk you through the whole process, make it very comfortable, super comfortable. But you make that phone call, let's say you have something that's happening and you're now thinking, or you were referred by someone.
Right.
You should reach out for home care. We set a time and a date. I'll send someone to come out and sit in your home with you.
Right.
And hopefully loved ones are there with you so they can also take notes and understand the process. And then we go through the house. We're going to walk through initially and make sure that we're looking at your home, make sure it's safe for a caregiver to come into as well.
Sure, yeah.
We're going to give you
that it's not always safe.
Right, it's not always safe. We're going to give you tips.
Sure.
Make sure that there's no trip hazards, your rugs. Roll all that stuff up, grab handles. We look at all those things. We're not just coming in and saying, hey, we're going to put someone in here with you that you don't know, and they're going to be here for 5 hours a day, and this is what it is. We want to make sure that we're become part of a family, part of your family.
Right.
So, and we're going to make all these suggestions that you as a homeowner, probably never looked at before because you're just used to having this rug here. It's been here for 30-something years
Right.
or whatever.
But it's a really bad idea.
Yeah, we make all kinds of these decisions for you to kind of help you out to make the place safe. And then we're going to tell you what it's an hourly rate.
Right.
That's going to be all home care. So it'll be an hourly rate unless you have private long-term care insurance policy.
Nice, yes.
And then that definitely pays for home care. And you know, there isn't a lot of those around anymore. So we're getting more and more into the cash pay side.
And I see this as well. You know, the whole piece of having long-term care insurance in my world, I just don't see it very often.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
But the sell is a little hard, I think, to get people to buy it. They don't think they're ever really going to need it.
Yeah.
I think they're very much in fear of the cost associated with that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of negatives to
Generational thing too.
barriers,
you know?
right?
We've had clients that have
What
called
about
us.
my kids, though, Chad? I mean, so if Diane can't do it, can I just layer in my kids? Can I hire them to bring it, or at least just make them come to take care of me?
I mean, you can on your own. You can.
I mean,
hire
they're still
them.
in my will, right? I mean, do you want to stay in my will?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in order to work for a company like us, we're governed by the state of Florida, ACA.
Right.
So there's a lot of criteria that goes along to be a caregiver under us. So you got to have all that stuff
The
first.
point is I'm trying to make is that, I think the generational thing you bring up is that, well, my wife's going to take care of me. Well, if she can't take care of me, I got 3 kids. They'll take care of me. And I think that is
the sandwich generation is where we're at right now. We're in that right now.
I think expecting my 2 kids to take care of me is really not
it's
a good plan.
It's tough.
They're great kids. One of them's a nurse. She's very highly medical. She's very smart. The other one's one of the nicest, most caring people I know on the planet. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to be coming in and take care of me.
They've got lives.
They have their own lives, exactly. And they're also, one's in Orlando, the other one's up in North Carolina. They're going to change. Not that it isn't done. I have seen it done. But I think an expectation that that's your best plan.
Yeah.
I think you better have a plan B.
You got to have a plan B.
Yeah.
So. And you would want someone that's coming in that's fully trained on what they're doing. And,
of course,
this is what they're here for. So.
I mean, my son, again, bless his heart, I mean, I'm sure he would like to do what he could, but he doesn't have the skill set to do this.
No, I would end up
and I'm
tripping.
not sure I want him to learn on the job.
I would trip, fall down, and my son would laugh at me and say, "Get up." That's where we would be. So yeah,
it's not funny, man.
We don't want that. That's right. Yeah. No, it's easier just to have a trained professional to come in and do that work.
Cool. Right, I agree. So the setup, the barriers to access is always a big issue with me. I mean, it's the fear of the unknown that keeps people from taking action.
Yeah.
So I guess let's stress that don't have that fear. Taking action is just a phone call, basically.
It's just a phone call away, and I tell you, it's the easiest phone call you'll make because we're right there ready to help on the spot. We're usually able to staff somebody within 24 to 48 hours.
Wow, great,
so,
great.
Under those emergency situations, we're good at putting someone in there to help you out pretty quick.
So again, you can either access it in an emergency situation because something just has gone down. Let's say, again, I'm just kind of thinking some hypotheticals. Let's say I am taking care of Diane in this case. Let's flip the roles, right? And we're a little bit older, and I'm taking care of her, and she has some significant needs on a daily basis. Nothing that I can't necessarily handle, all right? And it's working, but then I get a diagnosis of something, or I have to have a procedure. I have to have a hip or a shoulder or gallbladder or this or that or something that, or heart issue, whatever. And now I'm going away for a little bit.
Yep.
And my kids, let's say hypothetically, they might be able to stop by once in a while, but who's going to do the core things that I've been doing for Diane?
Sure.
So is that a home care situation possible?
Another great point. Yeah. Home care doesn't have to be forever.
Right.
You don't have to hire us because you're declining, and this could be the decline to end of life, and we're there the whole time.
Right.
We have people that have surgeries, and we're just there to help them for 2 weeks after a surgery.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be a permanent thing. So that's a good point.
I always try to look at my own personal. I had a really bad accident 10 years ago. It was really horrific, and after I transitioned out of neurointensive care, out of rehab, learning how to walk again. I mean, just bad. I finally got home. Right. Well, when I got home, I was not jumping around that house.
Right.
Doing everything I did.
Yeah.
And it was barely able to get home. And again, Diane showed up big time. But at the same time, I had home care.
Yeah.
and
a game changer,
for
isn't
about
it?
4 weeks, as that transition from long-term care rehab side into the home, and I had home care for probably more than a month, and it was a game changer. It was huge. It was huge. Again, poor Diane, she wants to do everything, but she doesn't have the skill sets to do these things.
Yeah, which kept her from having any kind of a burnout, which is
Correct.
great. You let the help in that's supposed
kept
to be
me
there.
on this side of the balcony.
That's exactly
Okay,
it.
so-
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So, very, very good. So again, barriers to access, it's not hard, right?
Nope.
Of course, there's going to be a cost associated with that, but it's not necessarily permanent. In the spectrum of the world that I live in, a lot of times, where there's the more expensive care, well, nursing home care is, I don't want to say outrageously expensive, it's really costly, right? $10,000 to $15,000 a month, right? And then we have an assisted living setting, variations, it's definitely not 10 to 15 grand.
Yeah.
And then we have kind of a home setting.
Yep.
And depending upon how much care is provided, it's got to be, my hallucination is it's at least somewhat more economical. I think if I have Chad and his team in my house 24/7, I'm going to be looking at a pretty penny.
It's a pretty penny.
But
if
it's
you're
also
looking at
wouldn't be
24/7.
appropriate to do that.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'd be moving to someplace where I can get that 24/7.
To get us in there early, to then have this really good quality of life longer,
Quality of life, yeah, I
without
think that's
having
right.
to move somewhere. Yeah, it's the average cost in Florida right now is around $35 an hour.
Right. Oh, geez, that's nothing.
And give or take a few dollars an hour, depending on companies. They're all a little bit different.
Sure,
it is a
sure.
cash pay business.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the average of what it's at right now. And yeah, if you get us in early and you accept that help. And that could be a huge difference between staying in your home and aging through the whole process, and then all of a sudden having to move.
So would you say sooner's better then?
Sooner is a lot better.
Really?
Yeah. I would rather
Don't wait till a
have-
crisis?
No, don't wait.
Last
No,
second?
No.
Houses
no,
burning down?
No.
No?
No. Absolutely
Sooner's
not.
better?
Yeah. And it's unfortunate.
I agree.
We go to these health fairs all the time, these senior fairs. There was just one a couple weeks ago I was at. There's over 200 people walking through these aisles and looking at all of our companies that are lined up in the healthcare industry. And if I had a dime for every single person that came by and said, "Oh, home care. Oh, I don't need you yet."
Oh my God.
But they don't take a business card unless I stop them and say, "You don't need it yet, you're right. But take my card because you may need it later. You may need it tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen." And then you've also got a neighbor that might need it. So here, take a few cards.
I hear you tell that story, and I've been there and done that same thing.
Yeah.
So I'll be in the community, I'll be presenting at a conference or something along these lines, and telling the story about Medicaid and public benefits and why this is so important. And they'll come by or they'll walk by the booth or whatever, and like, "Oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. Oh, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. I have Medicare. I mean, or I don't need that because I don't need that."
Yeah.
And internally, I'm like, "But you will."
Yeah. How do you know that you don't, tomorrow or the next day,
Correct.
or
Yes.
a month down the line? But that's part of that planning. Planning is
At least know that
the
it
biggest key in
exists.
aging is
Know that-
planning.
Exactly. Plan. Know that there's a problem. Know that there's a solution. And again, and I stress this over and over again. Know that there are people out there that know more than you do.
Yeah, that's right.
I was in my law school was very, very interesting. I had my contracts professor told me one of the biggest, most important things I ever learned in my life. And apparently everybody knows this except me. All right. But he's after class, and he's kind of a little bit of a curmudgeon. A lot of fear for this guy. He's actually one of the nicest humans on the planet, but he did not present that way. And he goes, "Scott, you know what your problem is?" And I'm like, "Well, what, Cal, what?" Because again, a lot of fear with this guy in first semester contracts. And he goes, "Well, Scott, you know what your problem is here? Your problem is that you don't know what you don't know." And I'm like, apparently people have heard this phrase before. I had never heard this phrase before, and it kind of blew my mind. I was like, "Oh, you're so smart." But to make a point of it, we don't know what we don't know, and
That's home care.
and you need exactly.
That's all the clients that call.
Exactly. So reach out and ask somebody who does.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of misconceptions too with home care. You get someone in there, "Oh, we've had home care. All she did was just sit around and hang out and whatever." And we paid them. We paid all this money for them to sit there. And I said, "Yeah, you paid for someone to sit there with you so that when you got up, you did not fall."
Correct.
So you've got your garage in the parking lot, or in your garage is your car right now.
Right.
And are you still paying your car insurance every month, or only when you get in it and drive away?
What a
Is
great
it one of
metaphor.
those things?
Yeah,
you
great
know?
metaphor.
So,
yeah,
I tell people it's worth the money.
And also, because you're sitting here with me right now, Diane is out getting her nails done.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, and her hair done, and she's having a cocktail or two with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
And so that she can come back and take care of me.
That's right. Somebody has to. But
Somebody
if not, I will. So call me.
Exactly. Good point. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Avail. So if somebody's out there and they're kind of listening to us talk about this and they're like, I want to get ahead of this problem, or right now I'm in a situation where maybe that would be a good idea. So how do they initiate contacting you? I mean, what does that look like?
Just go to the website.
Okay.
It's
What is the website?
www.availhomecare.com.
AVAIL?
Yes, almost like short for available.
Okay. Available. Avail.
It's availhomecare.com.
Avail, and that's all one word?
All one word.
Okay, no underscores.
Nope,
Just availhomecare.com.
Nope. It'll pop up with a phone number to reach out and call right there, and or you can fill out an online form.
And we're going to put some. Every time I watch a YouTube, there'll be links in the notes below, right?
Yeah. Right here.
Right here, exactly. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
Notes below with the links to follow. That's the first time for everything. All right. So do you have one? Before I had the one last thing question, I did say that Chad has had a very interesting life. And he's gone and done a lot of cool things. And so there's a little bit of an origin thing here with Chad. So my question is how in the world, why are you doing this home care thing? Okay, so what led up to that? And then before that, what's this Abrams tank thing in Mogadishu? This is a true story.
Yeah.
Can you give me 10 seconds on that? Because I've never heard that story before.
I'll start with the home care thing first, because I was a keynote speaker at Rotary Wednesday, and my mom is a part of the Rotary Club, so she was able to stand up and introduce me.
Nice.
And she made a point that I grew up at one point with 4 or 5 generations, I think she said 5 generations living that I got to be a part of in my family. And so I've watched the journey of all of these people get older and pass away, most of them locally here in Palm Harbor, Dunedin. And I was able to kind of watch over and take care of my grandfather and watch his decline the last year of his life. He and I were super close, probably the most close of anyone in the family, because we're both combat vets. And so, I was telling stories to my mom that she had never heard in her entire life, and my uncle, the same thing. And it's because we had that connection. And I think in growing up and then watching him go through all this and being there for that last portion of the life, it touched me. And in doing that, when I had the opportunity that someone brought to me to get into home care, to take care of these seniors, I saw a lot of, timing is everything, I saw a lot of World War II vets, which was what my grandfather was. So there was those still around. You got your Vietnam vets that are still there. And I said, absolutely, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to take care of these people and talk to them about these stories, because I think I could walk in the door and we have an instant connection that no other home care representative could walk in and do, because I can instantly talk to these people about their past.
So personal. It was personal.
It was personal.
It was
personal.
I mean, your own caregiving journey, or let's call it that, and your experience with your family kind of pushed you into, I want to do that for other people.
It did, yeah. I never thought that it would turn into that, but it did.
Very, very cool. All right. Yeah. I have 2 more things. First, give me 10 seconds on the Abrams, because I just found out about this today. And I was like, what the heck is, I had to ask, all right, so.
Yeah.
So you're driving a tank or something? What's going on?
The end of 1992, I joined the Army with a good friend of mine. He went Airborne Ranger. I went M1 Abrams. It's called a 19 kilo. That's the job description.
Oh, interesting.
So I end up at Fort Knox. Fort Knox, I go through all of my AIT, and then I get stationed. My first duty station was in Georgia, Fort Stewart, Georgia, by Savannah.
Right.
We are on the Division Ready Force, and that rotates around every 30 days to different bases who, if anything happens in the world, you're the first to go.
You get to go, right.
Before pre-cell phone, so I have a pager on.
Oh, no, really?
Wearing a pager.
This is old school.
Very old school, yeah. Pager goes off, and I get a knock at my barracks door, and sure enough, it was my commanding officer, and he said, Fisher, we're out of here. We're leaving. And so Yeah, that was October 4th, 1993. October 3rd, 1993 was the famous movie that's out, Black Hawk Down.
Sure.
Mogadishu, Somalia.
Yep.
So I was the very first tank to load up into a plane because they called for armor. They couldn't get it previously. They wanted it.
Right.
They couldn't get it. When the Black Hawks got shot down, they decided to go ahead and release some of us to go over there. So I was the first driver of the tank to fly in and land in Mogadishu.
That's so crazy.
And
man.
spend about 6 months living in Mogadishu, Somalia.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you never told me that story
Yeah,
before. Yeah, I just saw it on your bio.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I got to ask Chad about this. Okay, last thing before we go. Okay, so this is that one thing, if you wish everybody knew thing. I mean, the people we take care of, if you could tell them, you're like, well, one thing I wish you knew is, what would that be?
I think that
About this home care piece.
you have options. You don't have to just have an emergency and then make a call to move into an assisted living facility or something even further than that. The option is there, and home care it's really cool. It's awesome. You have people that have gone into these, we have caregivers that have gone into homes, and they have spent so much time with these families that they become a second family member. We've even had a caregiver who is ex-Army, by the way.
Right.
He was with this family and there for so long till the end, and the wife of that person called him and said, "Hey, would you be okay standing up and speaking at the funeral?"
Wow.
That's how close they became.
Wow. That's
And
a
so
big deal.
those stories, goosebumps.
Yeah, no,
I mean, those
I
stories are
feel,
why
yeah.
I do what I do, because
Very cool.
it's changing someone's life.
That's amazing. So some of the times I think about what makes people like us different.
Yeah.
Because there's other home care people out there. There's definitely other elder law attorneys that work and do things that I do out there as well.
Is there?
They're good answer.
I don't know.
But no, in all seriousness, and one thing that I think that differentiates you and I from all those other people is we care.
Yeah.
We actually care about our people. This is something, we don't go to work for the paycheck.
Yep.
We go to work to make people's lives better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a
Yep.
big difference.
Absolutely.
All right, I just want to thank you for coming on and talking
Thanks
with
for
me.
having
That's
me.
really
Yeah.
great. This is Chad Fisher from Avail Home Care. Great having him on the show today. I'm Sean Scott. This is Aging Smart. Remember, there's a smart way to do it and a dumb way to do it. Smarter's better. So if you have any other questions regarding Medicaid or elder care or any aging-related legal questions, give us a call or hook us up at virtuallawoffice.com. The link is down below. Have a good day, everybody, and we'll see you again next time.
See ya.